Hi there, and welcome to the Animation Academy in Burbank, California, where everybody's happy. And this is a picture of Art Shark from 2002, back in the days when we were physically printing and publishing our schedules and going through that whole process of mailing them out and all that kind of stuff. And I was having some fun with the character and wanted to make him look like a hippie from the 1960s, and I touched up the artwork for the video. Actually, this is what it looked like originally. Art Shark holding up a sign that says, "Come to class prepared to draw," and that was meant to communicate to our students both materially and mentally to make the most out of your experience at the academy. And the color was done by the one and only Snakebite Cortez. Okay, this is Share the Lesson with yours truly, Charles Zimbillis. I'm the director, founder, and lead instructor here at the Academy. And this is number 7, Head Design Basics. This is a follow-up to the last video where we looked at head construction basics. So we're using that as a launching point and getting into further look at head designs based upon the whole construction process that we've been building up until now. But before we do that, I'd like to take some time and showcase an artist that we've had here for several years at the Academy, and this is the work of Maya Gross. And Maya is a really talented artist. She's got a great imagination, highly skilled, and she used to be a student. This is some of her work from visual development when she was a student with us, and as you can see, just a wonderful, she was terrific, and she is now an instructor here. And this is one of the things that I like to do with our students, with some of the advanced students that we have, is move them into an instructor's capacity. And Maya has just been doing, she's just been working out great, and she's indispensable here. She teaches character design 1, character design 2, visual development, and also story sketch. She teaches visual development 1 and 2, I should say. And yeah, she's fantastic, just fantastic, and I'm just very appreciative to have talent like this on the level of Maya, involved with the school and helping to encourage and educate the other artists that are here that are on their way as well. Okay, great. All right, let's take a look at our lesson for today. And as you recall from the previous videos I've recorded leading up to this, what we are doing here, what you see here, is the basic foundation of a character that I was designing as part of a session I was having with an online student a couple of weeks ago. And as you recall, I would admonish beginning character designers to start with that whole construction process that I've been talking about, which involves drawing a perfect circle, starting the construction by virtue of a center line and the ellipse of your eye line, using that eye line as a point of articulation to extend a jaw area to the skull. Remember that shape equals anatomy, so we're giving an anatomical correlation to the shapes that we're using as we develop our head designs. Okay, I extend that center line down through the jaw, and I make sure that I'm making a commitment to the dominant mass. In this case, I'm committing to the mass of the jaw as opposed to the skull. Added a couple little pointy ears there, because what I'm trying to come up with here is an ogre. I'm looking to design an ogre character. And I start off by describing, during our session, the difference between a human skull, that of modern man and woman, Homo sapiens, our species, compared to a Neanderthal skull. And I did a comparative anatomical study here because I wanted to use a Neanderthal as a basic creative launching point for what I'm going to be doing with this troll. As you can see, the skull is longer, you got a sloping frontal lobe, you got this prominent brow ridge, high cheekbones, and a sweeping chin, and a nose that protrudes prominently. And I'm building up my composition over here along those lines, and here we are. Okay, now I'm starting to come in with some facial features and getting a little bit graphic here. That's what I'm kind of shooting for, like a mix of design graphics and anatomy, like fairly realistic anatomy. I did a little overlay here also to show what a Neanderthal would look like if you were to flesh out that skull. Real interesting, real interesting study. And also I was showing my student differences in the way that Neanderthal teeth compared to human teeth. Okay. After I did that, I looked into completing the design with a final line, and you can still see the construction basis, the construction foundation underneath this final line. I'm drawing in blue because blue is commonly used in the animation, in design and in animation traditionally, as a to create your underdrawing for your character. So this would be the underdrawing. Okay, you do your underdrawing in blue, and then you start to work your way towards the final line. In this case, it's a fairly clean rough, but it's not a final line in the pure sense of the term, but you can kind of see the final image here. And I added a little bit of a design element, well, a prominent design element in the form of this mohawk, and I topped it off with a light source, establishing a light source to help to describe dimensionality a little bit better by creating, a shadow layer to my composition. Okay, let's go to this example here from the same session. I did another take on what I was kind of like exploring an ogre, to thinking of what an ogre would look like as I'm exploring the concept creatively. And this particular sketch, I used an advanced technique of drawing called freeform sketching. I call it freeform drawing. And there's a basic attempt to kind of use construction. You can see a little bit of a center line here or so on. But I didn't. I did it mostly by kind of drawing the silhouette and the outline of the character, not really getting into the actual construction process as I normally would. And that's because I'm confident enough in my design skills to be able to establish, the illusion of form without having to necessarily go through construction. But the construction is all there. It's all there. Okay, this is what you get. This is what the aim of construction is to come up with solid shapes and forms and to create a believable image. And then I thought to myself, why not try giving this character more of like an animal nose and see what that would turn out to look like. So I did a little design modification there, and then I went in with my black line and made the commitment to what I really wanted you to see. You can see right here also the top of the head, how I'm drawing through. This is something that you want to do as part of your construction process, and as far as just the design process and on a basic level, is to make sure that all your underlying forms are there, and then as you add design elements, everything is in place because that foundation is there. Okay, you wouldn't necessarily see it in the final version of the character, but when you do like a final line cleanup, but everything is there, and that's why it looks solid and just gives you that whole illusion of reality. And I established a light source on this guy, and I created a shadow layer here to help to accentuate form and dimensionality, depth of field, all those things that would especially be significant, something that would be beneficial to let's say modelers who were creating the character in a CG slash 3D software program. And yeah, okay, let's go on to our next version here. And what I wanted to do with this guy, and this is all from the same session now. Okay, so yeah, it was a pretty productive session for me. I got a chance to do some of my own drawing, and I want to get away from that realism that you're seeing here, that attempt towards, like more of a what you would normally see with, the human form, that kind of stuff, and I wanted to get into something simpler and graphic, and I kind of built on that whole idea about having like an animal type nose, and I just kind of went and developed an entire snout area for the character. You can see I fell back onto construction with my circle for the skull, the ellipse of my eye line, the center line, all that kind of stuff, and I started to punch out, get a little bit heavier, and work the lines that I wanted you to see. And again, keeping it simple, keeping it graphic, and making a significant, establishing a significant contrast between my dominant shapes, my dominant mass, and the mass that it's built off of. Okay, the jaw and the skull primarily, along with that snout. And then I establish the final line, and then I add a shadow layer to again push that whole feel of dimensionality. And these little dashes that you see here are my attempt to break up the placement of the design elements so that there isn't a redundancy, and getting things to kind of space out and group together, because it helps to enhance the appeal, the design appeal of the image. Now, if this was a project that I was doing for a studio or a client or what have you, I would delve into this way beyond what it is that you're seeing. This would just be just the very beginning. I would come up with dozens and dozens of different ideas of what I would like this character to look like, and then we would come to consensus as to what would be the best way to, we make some commitments to the final design, and we go from there. Okay, so it's a good start. I had fun doing this, of course, and of course I feel that the student I was working with, gained quite a bit from this these demonstrations and this session. Okay, and I hope that's the case with you as well. So all right, thank you for watching. This is the Animation Academy in Burbank. We're wrapping up episode number 7 of Share the Lesson. If you feel that this would be beneficial to somebody that you know, please feel free to share that with them. You can like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to us on YouTube as we continue to further develop our channel. You can also enroll at the Animation Academy, get the process started by getting in touch with us. We have on-site classes in Burbank, and we can also work with you online as well. Thanks for watching. Have fun and keep creating, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.